the coolest thing about the Nerf hobby's evolution from roots of casual gameplay in the backyard with your family to what it's now its own standalone competitive sport is that there's actually a few companies out there that have kept up with it by providing accessories to match the elevated performance that some of these blasters now have, especially the pro blasters. One of these companies is NFStrike. If you guys remember, they were the name behind the JS Blacktech units that we reviewed last year. A really cool HUD unit that went on to the Nerf Rapid Strike and Stratohawk, and then they showed us a cool version that they came up with for the Strife. Although these pieces of tech were limited to these particular blasters, it really showed us the lengths this company is willing to go to provide some cool cutting edge gear that matches our cool cutting edge blasters. Recently they released two new pieces of tech that actually can go on any blaster, and they send those to us for review. One of them is a JS-C01, which is a counter unit that sits at the end of your barrel and it manages dart data, and we'll get into that shortly. And the other one is a JS-H01, which is a newly designed HUD unit that can actually go on any blaster of your choice. That's correct, these are not limited to a certain blaster anymore. These are universal pieces that can go on any blaster, and they work in sync with each other, which is really cool. We're gonna unbox these, we're gonna see what we get with them, we're gonna mount them to one of our blasters and see how they work. Let's get into it, guys. All right, so starting with the JS-H01 HUD, they come in these nice little matte black boxes, very high tech. And then we have the unit itself with some provided hardware. And the reason for that provided hardware is because this unit actually comes in two different configurations. It comes in what I like to call indoor mode, basically just the HUD itself. It has magnetically attached anti-glare screen, as you can see right here. That's actually pretty cool. The unit controls are this 3-button layout right here. And of course you have the HUD, and you do have two different Allen keys already built into the design of the unit here, which you can use to make various adjustments and also to mount what I like to call your outdoor shade on. This one actually will fit over this area. It actually replaces the glare screen because rather than glare, you'll be needing to shade yourself from sunlight affecting the illumination of your HUD. The unit is USB rechargeable as with their other units. You just remove this little weather piece here. Your USB charging port will become exposed and available so you can charge the unit and also provide firmware updates which are available via PC. And there are various firmware updates to perform on these units depending on what your needs are. This unit is very much like the HUD that we discussed on the Stratohawk. Very similar. You press that center button, hold it down for about 1 second, and the unit boots up into the main screen where you have your gyroscopic information, basically pitch and roll of your blaster. We already know that we have a gyro inside this unit. If you click the center button twice, you come to this one screen where you can actually select the reticle that you want to use. This will be the reticle that sits in the center of your screen, and it's the one that you'll be aiming the most time with. For the moment, I chose the X. Gonna press the center button twice to get out of that screen. To enter the next menu, you want to press the center button 3 times, and this will bring you into your device name, which you're gonna pair with this device. This is gonna be the counter, which we are gonna unbox next. We'll discuss this procedure in the next part of the video. To exit this screen or to exit any kind of individual menu, you're just gonna press that center button twice. To get to the next menu screen, you're gonna press the center button 4 times, and here's where you can update the parameters that you do your combat with. For example, the capacity of your mags. So right now we're just gonna leave it at the default, which is 15. It tells you the version number of your unit, which is 1.01. You could set your automatic off time. Right now we just have it at the default of 10 minutes. We have your S display of darts, which is on. It basically shows you the amount of darts you have remaining, which is a cool feature. Pitch is on and roll is on. That's all components of the gyro mechanism. And then you get into your more intricate controls, which is your color and your RGB settings. I usually don't touch those, but it's cool that it allows you those options. It also allows you to set your values for when you're low on ammo. It'll give you like an ammo low warning and your minimums as well. That allows you to set different capacities for different mags, which is actually cool. And of course, to exit this screen, just like any screen, you press the center twice. On the left key, you can adjust the brightness using the leftmost key to go down, the rightmost key to go up. Press menu twice to get out of the brightness setting, and the right key is just used for your plus value when you're dealing with plus and minus value situations. Like I said, you click the center 3 times, you're gonna be able to turn your Bluetooth on, which is what you'll need to sync this unit with the counter unit, which is what we're gonna unbox next. In the meantime, we wanna turn off our unit. You're just gonna hold that center key for 5 seconds, and that's all you need to do to turn it off. Moving on to the JS-C01, the speed counter. counter. Now I can't remember if this USB cable came with this one or the sight, but it does come with one or the other. It probably did come with this one too. I just can't remember because I unboxed these at one point to get the measurements for 3D print. We'll get into that later. And here's your counter. Now this unit comes out of the box ready to attach onto an NFStrike lug attachment on any of your Nerf blasters. However, if you're probably looking at a competitive scenario, you want to attach this to a 16mm barrel. The website does say that in those situations, you're welcome to design your own. So I said, don't mind if I do. And I actually designed a lug that can slide onto your 16-inch barrel. If you plan on using this on a lot of Nerf blasters as well, that way you can use this on your competitive blaster and on your Nerf blasters. But if you're gonna strictly use this on a competitive blaster platform, I actually designed two different adapters that take the place of this. One of them is just a straight fit with no rifling inside, and then the other one has a built-in T-car. I did this one with the 4-line just so it doesn't restrict too much and we could still get some decent accuracy when we're testing. These will both take the place of this. NFStrike is really nice about providing the step and STL files for you if you have some desires of changing the color for whatever matching needs you have on your blaster. So that was kind of really cool. I plan on actually printing a red version of this to use on my Try-On. I just thought it was cool for demonstration purposes that you can print them in whatever color you want. You just have to politely ask them you wish to have the step files and they will gladly provide them to you through email. Now the counter powers on just about the same way that your HUD powers on. You have to hold that center button for 1 second. This one's really cool because the gyroscope actually controls the direction of your screen. No matter which direction you lay the screen, the gyroscope will adjust the display to make sure that it's always upright and you're always able to see the display. And I thought that was really cool. Now with this display, you'll be able to change a few parameters. If you press the left button, you can change between FPS and meters per second if you're in Europe or you just happen to use meters. The right key is going to do the same thing that it does on your HUD, which is basically the plus if you're in a plus and minus situation for adjusting values. Double click on the center key and you're going to come into the menu of the number of darts in your mag. Since this will be synced to your HUD, these will in sequence both log the dart data at the same time, which is actually really cool. This will actually talk to the HUD and tell it how many darts are going through the Chrono, and it'll actually update it so that it can display on your screen. You won't have to physically look at your counter every single time. You could actually depend on your HUD if you're engaged in battle, and that's really cool because you won't have to break your sight out of your optic to have to look at this. This is just kind of like an exterior reference so you can double check your values. Going through the menu, very similar to the HUD, you can change your auto off time, and then these fire hat modes, they seem to be some kind of value adjustment depending on the characteristics of your blaster. Both this and the HUD do run on a 3.7 volt internal Li-ion, I think about 400 milliamp size, decent sized battery each one, so it'll last you at least most of the day since these displays don't really consume a lot of power. They do have an internal over discharge protection. It will not let the cells go below 3.4 volts, which is actually pretty cool. They're about 4.4, 4.2 when they're fully charged, and then when they're done, you could just plug in the USB-C here, just like the HUD, and recharge them. Now we're gonna go ahead and mount these to the blaster, and I'm gonna show you how the syncing and how the communication between these two units works while in function. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so the first thing you wanna do on the JS-C01, the counter unit, is enter the settings menu, and then over here on the top right-hand side, you're gonna see the Bluetooth name. You're gonna wanna write this name down or just take a picture of it with your phone because you're gonna need to enter it in the JS-H01 HUD unit next. Once you successfully enter it, you exit out of both menus on both units, and your units are successfully now paired. All right, guys, so we've synced our HUD with our counter. As you can see, it's showing 15 rounds to match the counter at the end of the barrel. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna fire a round. I've found that studio lights make a very good round catcher, and the fabric is rip stop, so we're gonna fire a round into our studio light there at the end of the barrel. You're gonna notice that simultaneously the rounds on the HUD and on the barrel counter will go down at the same time. I've already primed the blaster. Here we go. Saw that? So we went from 15 to 14 on both. I thought that is incredibly cool. I just think it's also incredibly cool. They positioned it in a way that you can actually see the counter clearly through the HUD. That is definitely a feature that offers contingency and redundancy in case, for example, you were to lose one or the other, you still have a clear view of your ammo remaining. Very nice touch on that NFStrike. Now you guys might be wondering, NotNuff, neither the HUD nor the chronograph have sensors in the magwell to tell when you've reloaded. How do you reset the ammo count? Well, if you guys ever played a shoot 'em up game at an arcade, do you remember what you had to do to reload that time? That's right. You just aim the gun 45 degrees and the ammo count will reload. Pretty simple, pretty sweet. man. This thing is really freaking cool. Wow. All right, guys. So a couple of things. The HUD is great with moderate to bright indoor lighting. However, outside, it's not as effective. You can't see it all that well. Even with the sunshade, I found myself oftentimes struggling a little bit. The counter is pretty visible even through the HUD. Now that could be because on the counter, you're looking directly at an LCD screen. On the HUD, you are looking at a semi-reflective coming from the back of the unit onto a piece of glass that you're looking completely through. I can understand. However, probably just a few more nits of brightness would make this truly a game changer for outdoor play. With all the features that this unit has to offer, it's actually pretty remarkable, all the things that it can do, especially not married to one particular blaster, which I think is a true highlight of this combo. You could just slap these on any one of your favorite pump action springers. You can slap them on your flywheeler. You can even slap them on something like the BK1S or any other AEG for that matter. This company has roots in airsoft, so they're slowly bringing over a lot of that technology to our sport, which I can never be thankful enough for, because this stuff is legitimately cool and I can see it offering a tactical advantage in the battlefield. Now, I guess we should discuss who exactly would this be for, and do you have to buy both of them at the same time? Well, it depends. What exactly do you want out of your blaster? Do you just want a chronograph that you could take everywhere and even mount it on board any of your blasters at any given time, whether if it's to qualify for a game or just to keep track of your blaster's consistency and performance across the board, keep track of your rounds, and you don't mind the display being all the way at the end of your blaster? Then definitely the JS-C01 would not be a bad choice if you're just going to get one of them. This obviously would be the cheaper alternative, and it has a built-in chronograph, which is kind of like a plus. If you're more of an overall complete tactician with your game and you just want to keep track of all the metrics of your system, I would suggest getting both because they're the perfect marriage. This one talks to this one. You could view the voltage that this one has. You can practically view all the metrics from your chronograph on your HUD. A brilliant design. The HUD also manages the health of your chronograph. It'll tell you the state of the voltage, give you a warning when the chronograph is about to shut down due to voltage reasons. It's the complementary package in my opinion. You can also get the HUD by itself, which would give you minimal data such as the gyro readings that we discussed earlier, which really just help with your angling and positioning during gameplay. It's cool to use as an aiming point as it has a solid reticle in the center, and you could actually change that as well, which I thought was really cool. Now, NFStrike did tell me that in the future they're planning to add a lot more features to the firmware, such as compatibility with LED tracer units, onboard LED control, onboard audio control. That part I thought was really cool. If you guys are thinking of some kind of a cosplay setup where you would like the blaster to make certain sounds or even a theme for a game, I think that would be really cool because you could just put laser or plasma sounds, whatever you want, on your blaster. Overall, they're really cool, innovative products. I want to know what you guys think down in the description. NFStrike is having a sale right now. I'll put both of those links in the description. By purchasing these, using those links, you are helping the channel, especially if you're going to buy them anyway. We really appreciate using those links. It really helps us maintain this kind of content frequently, and we know that you guys enjoy it, so we appreciate that greatly. Speaking of technology, you're gonna love the product that we're gonna discuss in the next video, so stick around for that one. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay blasting, foam fam.